pink. I've never seen you clearer than now. We're flying high, floating somewhere up in the clouds.
Okay, hey everybody. Today we are going to do this cotton candy kind of marble. I'm just showing you the colors that I'm using there from the gel bottle ink. I've got Marilyn, which is a Barbie-ish pink, Marshmallow, which is a sheer natural pink, Fairy Pink, which is a pretty hot pink, Diana, which is a milky white, and then I'm going to use St. Bart's in a bottle from Cuccio. It's like a vibrant kind of mid-toned blue. And I have my Just White Buttercream from Light Elegance. So those are all the products you're going to need for this look. I'm obviously using tips that have been buffed and base coated. So make sure to prep either the nail, the natural nail, the enhancement, or your tips, whatever you're doing. And then you're going to go in with a coat of Marshmallow. So I use this Marshmallow shade for tons of stuff. It's a really nice natural pinkish type shade that goes really well with a multitude of skin tones. So I'm just going to go ahead and give each of the nails a coat of Marshmallow, and then I'll come back when it's time for the next step.
Floating somewhere up in the clouds. We're going out of ourselves, can you feel it? Oh.
So I've got my palette here, and I'm just dropping a dollop of each color onto it so that they're easily accessible. I'm going to use a different brush, so I want to make sure that I have them sort of ready to go when I need them. So I've got my cured tips. I'm going to take my Light Elegance gel polish brush, whatever brush you have is fine, and I'm just going to start smushing them around. So the thing that's nice about these crystal quartzy type marble nails is that there's no like perfect way to do them or proper way to do them. It can be a little bit messy, and that works out really nicely still too. So in the interest of efficiency, I'm kind of just going through and doing all of the pink first so that I don't have to worry about cleaning my brush in between shades. And on this nail in particular, I just went ahead and went with a little bit of Marshmallow first because this is going to be an all pink nail. So I wanted that pink, that fairy pink color to really bleed into the other pinks so that you get this nice sort of creamy, dreamy, soft, cloudish effect, and you don't have any sort of harsh blending. Everything kind of smooths out into the other colors around it. So I'm just taking the pinks and alternating between the nails, putting it in random spots. It's, you know, no pattern, no particular rhyme or reason for things. And then I'm going to go in with my blue. So I'm using blue on some of, but not all of the nails. And I'm going back and forth between the blue and the Marshmallow and the fairy pink, the Marilyn, the lighter pink color, just trying to get everything blended. So I don't want to blend it into purple, right? I want distinct blue and pink. So that's where the Marshmallow comes into effect, is you can kind of put it in between and blend the colors without them blending into each other and making a third color. So you'll see me just kind of dab around. I'm using a dabbing motion and not a swiping motion because I want some texture on it as well. That contributes to the depth. So if you were to swipe it on and paint like you're painting a nail, you wouldn't get as much of that kind of lumpy texture, which is really a key element to the design. So this is both hands done here, and I'm going to go in with my buttercream now. So I'm using a fine liner brush. This brush that I'm using is from Beetles gel polish. It's just a long, thin striper brush. You can use whatever you have, but the thinner, certainly the better. So I'm going to go in and just try to make some jagged lines. The more sketchy and jaggedy you can make them, the better this is going to look, the more natural it's going to look, and it's going to sort of resemble stone a little bit more. You don't want these to be straight or perfect lines. So I'm going to just go ahead and draw lines across all the nails. I like to try and do things all one step and then all another step. So I'm going to draw all my lines, and then I'm going to go in and blend them out a little bit. So I'll just let you watch, but I'm just going to go in from different angles and, you know, different entry points, exit points, different numbers of lines, and kind of get all those scratchy lines on the nail. So once that's done, this is uncured still. I'm going to go back in with that gel polish brush, and you'll see I'm just approaching those lines from one side or the other. So this is going to give you the appearance of like a crack deep in the nail, where you've got a sharp edge and then you've got the open crack on the side. So I'm just flipping my tips around, working from one side or the other. When I go off to the side, I've got a lint-free wipe with some alcohol on it that I'm wiping my brush on to make sure that I don't get too much of the white buttercream on the brush, and I can kind of control the amount that's on there. But I'm just blending these out from one side, so it gives that sort of impactful shading where you've got a little bit more pigment and then it kind of fades out to the side. So I'm just going to do this on each of the nails, and take your time, right? The more patient you are and the more you kind of push the colors around, the better you'll get at it and the more natural it's going to look. I still have, room to grow, but my advice would be to be patient. I kind of scooted out of frame here, so I'm sorry about that, but hopefully you guys can get the idea of what this technique looks like. I'm really just kind of pushing up against those lines. So this is the finished result of that, and then I'm going to go ahead and cure that off. Once that's cured, we're going to take it out and we're going to go in with Diana, which is the milky white. So this step seems like it might not be that important or that useful, because when you look at it, it doesn't look like it's doing that much, but I'll show you side by side the comparison of the nail that has the coat of Diana and the nails that don't. It really does add to the depth. So I would definitely not skip this step of adding a milky white. You can always create your own with some top coat or some base coat and a little bit of your white gel polish if you don't have a pre-made milky white. But it definitely makes a difference in trying to make those lines look like they are embedded in your crystal. So the nails on the top have the coat of Diana on top of them, and the nails on the bottom don't. So you can see how it kind of blurs out the white lines, it softens the color, it really does give it that depth that you're looking for. These nails are all about creating layers. And layers means you're going to have to use some of your product. So we're going back in with the buttercream on the liner brush, and this time we're going to use even thinner lines. Okay, so and they're going to be really, really jagged, really messy. I'm using different entry points and exit points than before. Some of them will go in line with the previous line. Some of them will crisscross and be, intersecting. Just kind of, if you need a guideline, look at some natural stones and copy sort of the patterns and movements of those lines. But I like to make some of them sort of match and work along the lines that I previously drew, and some of them are going to cross and cut across and things like that. But again, it's random. There's no wrong way to do this. And for areas where it's a little bit thicker than I want, I just go in with my gel polish brush and sort of push it around and take off some of the, you can remove some of the product if you find there's areas of your lines that are thicker than you want or straighter than you want, right? You can kind of insert a little bit of like jaggedness like I did there to make them look a little bit more natural. Once that's done, go ahead and cure that as well. Make sure you close up all your gels so they don't cure on you. Okay, and then it's time for top coat. So this is really simple. You could also add some opal flakes at this point, or you could add them before you add the Diana to give it a little bit of like an opal-y finish with some crystal effect in the middle. Totally up to you. Play around with it. Inks are really popular as well, so you could use some alcohol inks on top of this, whether they're metallic or another pink to give another shade of depth. There's tons and tons of options, but I kind of kept it simple for this one and just let the cotton candy colors sort of do the talking. So the top coat is on. Go ahead and cure that off, and then this is the finished look. The initial lines that we drew look really blurred and kind of sunken in, and I think it looks so cool. Hopefully this was helpful and you guys test out this look. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.